All right, hello and welcome to P1's coverage of the INDYCAR Open Series Top Split here on Monday night. We're live from Phoenix Raceway here for round 4 of Season 4 of 2025. Mark Murphy is absent, so you've got just me, Jacob Collins, here in the booth tonight. Looking forward to a nice, I believe, 150-lap event here under the lights at Phoenix Raceway. This is the most recent configuration or scan of this track, so it has the asphalt all the way down to the inside wall, but fortunately we're running the sensible no open dogleg cut version here tonight, so we see a car around there. Quite the stacked field here tonight. Strength of field just over 5,000 at 5,058. We've got, actually I need trading paints. I knew I was going to forget something here. We'll get that fixed for qualifying here. We'll get a rundown of things. Get the timing tower up here so we can get an idea of who's where. You'll see some familiar names up near the top. We got Malechka, Oster, Brophy, Alexander, Clenworth, Matt Taylor. Pretty much anybody who's in this field, you've probably seen them in some capacity in our IndyCar coverage here on the channel. Thank you, Shane. I knew I was going to forget something here, and I got it. I got it here. So we'll hang out with let's hang out with Casey Povolonis as he gets ready to make his qualifying run here. Get on board with him. It's going to likely be, well, actually, Kyle Clenworth's out there actually ripping laps, so let's get him out here. Heads off into, I believe, this turn 4. Real close to the wall there. Cuts down. Be his first of 2 laps. 19.222 for Mr. Clenworth. Let's see what he's got on lap number 2 here. Good to see Alex Miller in the chat rooting for Anna Klemic. She's in the field here tonight. Car 15 of 16. Suppose when we got the big dogs in force, that's going to certainly come to play a factor. We will observe around this facility. Got a shot of victory lane here. See if we can get some. We get it. They got a cactus cam? What does that look like? Gonna be able to see that? Probably not. I think we're stuck on the scenic cam because we don't have a. Let's see if maybe we hop. That is a cactus cam. Look at that. Nice light up cactus. I believe this lights up with caution lights as well. It's a nice feature they've got here at the facility. We've got cars still making their qualifying attempts. J.W. Miller just set his fast lap at a 19.169. See if we can get out to chopper camera, maybe hop over to scenic blimp. There we go. We can get an eye from the sky here. And I believe this is Avondale, Arizona is where this track's located, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll look high above here as we wait for the rest of our competitors to make their qualifying runs. Still got about 2 minutes in the session. I'd imagine we're going to start seeing lots of times crop up here as we do so far. Before I forget, if you'd like to support us monetarily, there is a GoFundMe link in the description of the stream, or you can throw us a super chat our way. Any help you could provide, greatly appreciated if you want to support our coverage in that fashion. See Povolone shoot to the top with an 18.8. He's got something figured out in his Votive Racing League machine. 10 car here tonight. Last of the cars finally making their runs with the last 6 or so entries out there taking time. So we see, let's see if we can get outboard with Shear. Watch him from the outset. He's out with an 18.8. That was probably his last lap. Jason Brophy, currently your pole man. And I believe the inevitable has occurred. Robert Malechka to the top. Yeah, it's nice to see a night race for the first time in a long time, I feel like. We don't get a ton of them between a lot of the IndyCar stuff, given that a lot of the ovals we tend to go to don't have lights, and the ones that do, we tend to visit at a time where the lights aren't on. So, get us a starting grid here shortly. I can remember where my buttons are. So, on the pole will be Robert Malechka III with an 18.545. Alongside him, his power slide teammate in Jason Brophy. Marco Aurelio Brazil will roll off third alongside Anna Klemek in fourth. Casey Povolones will be fifth alongside Jacob Oster in his i5G machine. Luke Mansky with their number 14 of Logan Edwards will roll off seventh alongside Nicholas Sudik in his fiercely forward entry in the 8th position. Caleb Brashear and the other Luke Mansky entry tonight will be 9th alongside Matt Taylor in 10th. Rashad Craig will roll off 11th in the IAR machine for him alongside his teammate Seb Alexander in 12th. JW Miller from the world of the road to Indy will roll off 13th alongside Kyle Clenworth in his Rogue Racing entry in 14th. Ty Kilo will be 15th alongside Adriano Fraporti, rounding out our 16-car field here tonight. This shot right here reminds me of one of the old NASCAR Thunder games when you'd have like the kind of like the Barney Hall intro in Thunder 03 where they've got the like, you know, they're talking about the driver and the camera kind of just spins around the car. This is cool. Of course, these cameras provided by Whiplash Shib Cams if you're looking for some good cameras for taking screenshots or looking through replays. Whiplash. I've got to turn my voice chat off. Goodness me. It's always got to be something. Okay, immersion is no longer broken. Got the Luke Mansky boss in the chat. Good to see him. We will get to the front of the grid here. As they've gridded up here, we'll get Robert here. See if we can get a nice TV outboard shot here. See if maybe we can get one aimed down the pit lane. Get one aimed down the pit lane. There we go. See the nice shiny red chrome on that power slide machine for Robert. Get our starting grid off of here and we'll get a timing tower back. So 150 laps on the cards tonight. I want to say the fuel run here is about 50 to 60 laps, so we'll see a two-stop race here for sure, unless we get a good bit of yellow would be my guess. Might be possible to save that fuel. We'll just have to see if anyone opts to go for it. Tends to be a viable option, especially in these shorter ovals as the field kind of spreads out, and it's somewhat difficult to make passes on other cars without a very, very large speed differential. Pace car will pull off of turn number 2 here. Keep in mind this is the opposite end of the track. This is not where the start-finish line is located anymore on this particular version of Phoenix Raceway here in the sim. Robert will have to guide the field basically into turn number 3, and then we'll get the green. He's off. Green flag. Rob takes the lead. Big shot. Marco Aurelio Brazil looking low on Jason Brophy for second. Rest of the field looks mostly single file throughout the top 10. Marco Brazil makes the pass on Brophy. We've got a lot of cars on top of each other. Look like Oster and Brophy on top of each other. We'll hop back to this battle as Rob continues to gain a large advantage, already out to a second. So Anna Klemek's made it up to third ahead of Jason Brophy. We've got Jacob Oster running fifth with Povolones in tow behind him. And Povolones will look low on Oster here. See if he can mount a charge coming into 3 and 4 here. The momentum on the high side here, very strong. So Oster will hold on to that spot. Oster on the back of Brophy, looks to the high side again. He's opting to run the long way around. See if we could try to get a camera that gets us more than half a second a shot. We're moving around here so fast. There we go. Get on board the blimp. They may hide behind the little grandstand on the latter half of this track, but so far so good. We stay green. Change our pylon to gaps here so we can get an idea of who's closest together. Looks like it will still be this battle for third position between Brophy and Anna Klemic. Anna remains tough on the outside as Oster will look to the inside in 1 and 2 here. Move Oster up to 4th. Jason Brophy and Oster opting to bide their time here behind Marco, who's made it out to about a half a second ahead of them. See Seb Alexander working his way through the field on the high side of Logan Edwards here. That Taylor runs 11th. Real close between Povolonis and Alexander off the exit of turn number 4 there. Alexander tight on the inside here. He's going to stay all the way down on the bottom there. Contact is made. Povolonis in the wall. Alexander's around. We've got ourselves a yellow. See Ty Keelis stops there alongside Kyle Klendworth. We'll have to see if we can get back to this. Maybe ride a different camera here. See exactly where the contact gets made. So we'll hop back here. So we're coming through turns 3 and 4 here. Going to try to slow this down as much as we possibly can. Kind of see what happens here. Alexander fades up a little bit. And Povolonis left to right rear. Povolonis heads up the track. Looks like this looks like netcode contact between these two cars. Roughly the same colors as well. That makes it a bit more difficult to see. And then around Alexander goes. I believe that both of these cars will be out. And we are going to see pit stops here. We see Brophy, Malechka, everybody comes down the pit lane. We'll see how this cycles back out. Get back to a further away blimp shot. So it looks like Brophy ahead of Oster here. Malechka will remain at the point. Does not look like he came down the pit lane. My apologies. So yes, Brophy will be your first car down the pit lane. There were 4 cars that stayed out. Malechka, Brazil, Sudik, and Klendworth. That'll be the top 4. 5th on back is all down the pit lane in some fashion, with Povolonis and Alexander serving meatball flags, likely putting them out of contention here tonight. Seems Fraporti may have encountered a similar issue as he's 1 lap down in the pit lane as well. So we get intervals back up here as we stay under yellow flag conditions here. Light is out on the pace car. We will go around one more time. Hop back to the front with Malechka here. He took a very early and commanding lead of this race. Have to see if he's able to stretch his legs once more here now that Brazil is out into mostly clean track ahead of him, aside from Rob here. Pace car is off of turn 2 here. We've got a little ways to go before we get to turns 3 and 4 here at the Phoenix Raceway with the start-finish line in between corners for some reason. Still don't really understand I guess it's put it in front of the fans right in the corners here, but Rob is off. Green flag is out. See if he fires away from the field here. We see a battle just at the back here between Clenworth, Brophy, and Oster. They may look to go 3 wide here. Brophy thinks better of it, falls back behind Oster here. Clenworth remains in 4th. See if Kyle's able to hold on to some track position early here. Maybe he's opting for the long fuel save, thinks that he can make something of this. Looking for the pass on Sudik. Very tight through turns 3 and 4 there. Move Clenworth up to 3rd. Didn't have the strongest qualifying effort here tonight, but it looks like once he's got the track position, he's able to make some solid moves here tonight. Get ourselves back to some gaps here, see how far we've got cars between each other. This seems to still be the closest battle on the speedway for 3rd position here between Clenworth and Sudik. You see a number of cars within about a quarter of a second of each other. This is the furthest one up the field, so we'll stay here for now. Hop out to a bit of a less nauseating camera angle, in my opinion. Get further up in the sky here on the blimp. We watch Kyle Clenworth in his magenta and silver machine. I guess that's probably a chrome on his road racing machine. So it's only 10 laps for the cars past the top 4 here in terms of the tire advantage. That is enough where you may good well see it come the back half of the tire run here in terms of them being able to make up ground on these guys that stayed out just ahead of them here. I have a feeling that Brazil and Malechko will be pretty difficult to catch, at least under current conditions, unless we get some sort of action between as Oster looks low here on Sudik. Sees if he can make anything of it, thinks better of it, falls back into line off of turn number 4 here. Down the front straightaway, which used to be the back straightaway, into turns 1 and 2. Very, very tight turns 1 and 2 here. Very easy to overestimate just how much grip you have and hit that outside wall coming back off the corner there. Like many of these short ovals, it tends to have a very, very compromising exit in terms of the wall angle, so it almost ends up flat before the corner ends, and that can catch you out very, very quickly. See if we can shoot a bit further back in the field here. As we see Casey Povolones pull back on the track. We'll hop back on a Klemek running 7th ahead of Caleb Brashear and Logan Edwards, the two Luke Miginski Racing Machines, running 8th and 9th right now. Matt Taylor will round out your top 10 with Rashad Craig, Ty Keela, and J.W. Miller rounding out your lead lap runners. Adriano Fraporti is 1 lap down. Povolones, who we just saw return to the field, is 9 laps down. And Seb Alexander still in the pit lane taking repairs 16 laps down. Hop back to Sudik here. And his fiercely forward entry. Now that this field has caught Marco Aurelio Brazil in that 2nd spot. We'll see if Clenworth at the front of this line opts to start making any sorts of looks, trying to size Brazil up to make a pass here, or if he's content riding behind him, maybe trying to save a little bit more fuel, lifting in the throttle range, keeping it easy. He'll look to the bottom here on Brazil down the back stretch, heading into 3 and 4. He'll make the move on Brazil, move Clenworth up to 2nd. Now, Robert Malechka is about 1.5 seconds ahead here. He's got quite a sizable gap for this remaining crew to kind of catch through, even after making it past Brazil. Sudik will look to the bottom on Brazil, move him up to 3rd. Brazil will fight on the high side coming to 1 and 2 here. Not going to be able to hold on to it. Undercuts. I speak too soon. Brazil's going to fight for it. We'll hop back to this battle. Oster nearly into the back of Brazil. Cuts down to the bottom of the track to stay alive. Oster running near the fence. Brophy will make it by him for 5th. And we'll watch as these 5 or so cars navigate through the middle portion of this run as we work lap number 29. Sudik looking on Clenworth to the high side. Has a bit of a run. Fades low here. We'll see if he can do anything in 3 and 4. Moves Sudik to 2nd. Clenworth's going to look back to the bottom. Real tight in 3 and 4 again. Likewise, as we saw with Alexander earlier, trying to make that bottom lane work. Brophy by Brazil for 4th. He's the first car on the newest tires here. He pitted 21 laps ago on lap number 10. So we work lap 31 here. Clenworth's going to look on Sudik again here. Down the back straightaway heading into turns 3 and 4. He'll make that move stick. Brophy's going to likewise look as we go past the grandstand here. Brophy's going to make it by Sudik for 3rd. See if Sudik has anything to say for any of these cars ahead of him now. Brophy's going to look on Clenworth here. Move Brophy to 2nd. He's on the charge. We'll see if he can start hunting down Malechka. Now, what happened to Jacob Oster? He's down in 13th now. Does he have damage, perhaps? Doesn't look like it from the outset. There's not an indication of a meatball flag on his car either. I'm wondering if maybe that contact with Brazil was more than we thought it was, and he's suffering some sort of front end damage that we just can't see here. Move back to Clenworth up near the front here. As he continues to try to hound Jason Brophy for this 3rd spot. Closer in on this battle for 2nd here. Maybe we'll hop on board with Kyle Clenworth here as we work around the Phoenix Raceway here. Real low arc here for Clenworth as he trails Brophy. We are coming up, I believe, on the lapped machine of Adriano Fraporti, who's now 2 laps down here tonight. Very, very high speed here at Phoenix. Nearly 200 miles an hour into both ends of this speedway. 1 mile track here. Very, very fast on the fairly new asphalt here from what I recall. Kyle seems to gain the biggest portion of his momentum in the middle of 3 and 4 towards the start-finish line. Kind of looks for a wider arc in 1 and 2 here to maybe get some clean air down the straight here. Pops back into line. Tight arc, trying to get all the way down. Big gain of momentum through the center of the corner there. And we're back to turns 1 and 2 yet again. Fast as they leave, they're here again. 18 some odd second lap times here in the IR18 in its short oval aero configuration. Get off the road racing machine of Clenworth here. Move back to battle for 7th. Sixth, sorry. Logan Edwards looks behind Marco Brazil here for the 6th spot. See if he can opt to mount a charge here. If he's likewise trying to just stay behind a car, save some gas, lift a little bit more. And how about Rashad Craig? He's up to 8th, making the move on Anna Klemek here behind this battle for 6th. He's up to 8th ahead of Klemic. Tykila is up 5 spots here tonight, up to 10th. Matt Taylor runs 11th. J.W. Miller is 12th. And Jacob Oster, last of the lead lap runners, in 13th. We're not entirely sure what happened, but it's possible that he suffered some sort of side-to-side or front contact in an earlier spat, if you will, that put him down the field. Hop back. We'll keep on this battle here as Rashad Craig makes his way into this picture. He's starting to make some moves on the long run here. Slowly but surely. Looks to the bottom on Logan Edwards here for the 7th spot. Not quite enough as Edwards stays in the toe of Brazil. Edwards will run long way around here. Craig trying hard not to stay in the dirty air of Brazil, but he doesn't have much of a choice given where Brazil is running. As we see Tykila into the picture here, he comes to the bottom on Rashad. Brazil, Edwards very close off of turn number 2 there. We'll see Craig go to the bottom here one more time. He'll make the pass, I believe, coming into turns 1 and 2 here. We'll see Tykila opt to try to look in the same spot. See if he can make the move off turn number 2 here. Not quite enough. Heading into 3 and 4. Tykila still on the bottom here on Logan Edwards. Get a tighter shot here so we can ignore the grandstands. We've got Brazil working Rashad Craig. We've got Tykila working Logan Edwards. Marco Brazil basically getting used as a pick here at this point as we see Matt Taylor enter the picture. He's on the bottom of both of them, and we've got a car on the wall.
The yellow flag is out.
That's Marco Brazil, and I believe Casey Povolones again in the wall, and now I believe that's turn 1. Have to see exactly how the contact was made there. So we'll back our camera up here. This is a weird angle. Let's see if we can get something a bit closer. So we've got Povolones on the high side out ahead of this group of Kila, Brazil, and I believe that would be Rashad Craig out ahead. Makes it by the slow car of Povolones off of turn number 4 here, heading down what I believe would be the front straightaway. Tykila looks to the bottom. Brazil's in the middle here. He fades up just ever so slightly into the side of Povolones, who's already in the wall. Brazil smacks into Povolones as Povolones has nowhere to go at this point. And Brazil goes around into the wall, up in the air. And that's likely night done for the 9 machine. Alongside with Casey, to be quite fair. He already had to repair his car tonight. I'm suspecting he'll not be super keen to put the repairs out again, as we see a good number of cars come to the pit lane this time, including Malechka from the lead. Brophy will come out in second. Sudik third. Fourth for Caleb Brashear. Rashad Craig will line up 5th. Kyle Clenworth held on some good track position in 6th. Tykila will be up to 7th. Matt Taylor in 8th. J.W. Miller will be 9th. Logan Edwards rounding out your top 10. And we'll have Anna Klemic and Jacob Oster rounding out our lead lap runners in 11th and 12th. Have not yet made it to halfway. We're working lap 51 here tonight. Gosh, bang it. Thank you, Shane. I'm a rookie here. I can, like, see it on one screen, and I don't have it. I just need to look at the broadcast feed instead of the stuff I've got on my screens. All right. Pace car will come off here, back in the field of Malechka. And we will be off here coming into turns 3 and 4. Malechka fires off.
Green flag, green flag.
He's out to a big lead already. We'll hop back to, I believe, Sudik. Will be the closest here now. So we've got actual timing here. Sudik and Brashear fighting for the bottom step of the podium. Battle for third here. See if Jacob Oster can work his way back through the field. He looked strong, but since falling back, it doesn't look like he's been able to gain too much momentum here as we see Brashear looking on Sudik. Looks to the bottom here, heading into turns 3 and 4. Way down low. Sudik lets him go. Move Brashear up to third. We see Kyle Clenworth just in the background here watching from afar. Sudik will look back on Brashear through 1 and 2. Take the spot back for a time. See if he can hold on to it heading into turns 3 and 4 here. Will clear. Clenworth into the picture on the bottom now. He'll look to the bottom on Sudik heading into 1 and 2. Real close between these three cars here for the final step of the podium. Brashear will look 3, thinks better of it. Backs out, lives another day. Clenworth up to third. Sudik back on Clenworth for the third spot. He'll look. Take it in turns 3 and 4. Brashear will look on at Clenworth as well. Try to move into fourth. Real close between these. Now, basically the rest of the top 10 is here. So we've got Matt Taylor in 8th at the back of this train now. And Logan Edwards almost hot in tow as we see Jacob Oster's moved up to 10th. See if he can start working his way through this gaggle of cars. A lot of jockeying for this third spot. So we see Rashad Craig look to the bottom of Brashear for fourth. See if he opts to make the move to the bottom. Low side for Rashad Craig. Brashear will hold tough on the outside, get the draft off the corner here for a little while. A little bit more momentum for that Luke Mansky racing machine. 4 cars under a blanket here as Clenworth will continue to look even higher than Brashear is running for that clean air. A lot of motion heading into turns 3 and 4 here. Now we do have a battle for the lead almost, as Brophy has now moved within 0.3 of a second of Robert Malechka at the front. Hop on that for just a moment. He is thereabouts. Get a tighter camera on this. Now it's within 0.2. He's in the tow. He's ready to strike. We'll move back to the battle for third here. So we've got a 4-way fight for it. Jacob Oster's moved his way up to 7th. Real tight 3 wide into 3 and 4 here. Craig looking to the bottom on Sudik. Sudik locks that off. Craig back to the bottom again. Sudik still leads this train. We got Brashear looking on Craig for fourth. Move him to fourth. Craig will lose another spot to Jacob Oster, who's made his way now into the top 5. Oster to the high side. Almost 3 wide going into 3 and 4 here. Brashear back to the bottom. 2 by 2. working for the bottom step of the podium here. Brashear back to the point of this group. You got Sudik looking back to the high side, chopping Oster off there. Still 2x2 now for fourth. Rashad Craig will look on Brashear into turns 1 and 2. Brashear locks that off. Kyle Klindworth's now re-entered the picture. He'll run at the tail end of this line. Try to get a bit more of this battle in view as we've got basically the entire rest of the top 10 on top of each other at this point. A little bit of argy-bargy going on now. See Adriano Forporti or JW Miller, I believe, going down the pit lane there. That may be a scheduled stop at this rate. No, I believe that's Forporti down the pit lane. Sudik looking on Brashear for third. We've got Oster on the inside of Klendworth for fifth. He'll take that spot. Rashad Craig on the inside of Klendworth now for sixth. Sudik will look on Brashear into 1 and 2. Move Sudik. Oh, contact! Brashear into the wall.
The yellow flag is out.
I believe that was Oster that made contact with Brashear off of turn 2. Rick Ravon chiming in that this looks like a DW12 race. I might agree with you, Rick. It is a very, very tightly knit field here at Phoenix tonight. Let's see if we can get back towards where we were just a moment ago at the other end of the speedway. So we've got Jacob Oster working the bottom here, and Caleb Brashear comes up down a couple. It looks like we might have gotten netcode contact yet here again. Those cars did get stuck together, though, and Brashear to the outside wall. Don't believe anybody else gets collected in this. Believe it'll be a single car incident with just Brashear involved. And Brashear will go on quite the ride here in his Luke Mansky racing machine. Get on board with Oster, see if maybe he sees something through this corner that we don't. Get to the cockpit cam of Oster real quick. So we're coming through 3 and 4 here. Low side, just, yeah, nothing there at that point, I think, in terms of the cockpit cam. Goodness me, I'm trying to read chat and talk at the same time. We'll get back to pit stops in real time here. Robert Malechka, still your leader. I'm thinking Rick Ravon being the fighting rooster or something. I got too many images in my head at this point. So we got Malechka leading from Jason Brophy in second. Kyle Klendworth will roll out third. Sudik fourth. Oster will be fifth. Rashad Craig, Matt Taylor, Logan Edwards, Anna Klemek, Ty Keela will be the last of our lead lap runners in 10th. And JW Miller making his way to the pit lane 1 lap down. Lechka staying out, I believe, here this time. He's on 25 lap old tires at this stage. Lights are out on the pace car. We have caught up to the present. We are heading into turns 1 and 2. This track is backwards. It's very confusing having the start-finish line between the turns like this. So we'll get out to our trusty blimp cam here. And Malechka's off. Green flag in the air now.
Green flag, green flag.
Big gap already. We'll hop back to kind of where the battle was brewing prior to that yellow, just outside the podium places here, with Sudik and Oster running 4th and 5th. We got 10 cars still on the lead lap here tonight. Taikila being the last of those in 10th. Klemic, Edwards, Taylor, Craig, Oster, Sudik, Clenworth, Brophy, Malechka, the reverse top 10. Long way to go here still tonight. Get ourselves over to laps to go here as we're past halfway. 70 here to go tonight. Not quite as tight as I thought it would be here, so we'll hop back to Matt Taylor getting hunted down by Logan Edwards here for 7th. I believe this is the closest battle on the speedway now as Jason Brophy sets the purple lap of the race with a 18.791. He's hounding Malechka, so that actually might be worth watching for the time being, if he can do anything with it. Not quite. Just try to watch that gap over the next couple laps here. Make a run into 3 and 4. Nothing there. Stick back to Matt Taylor running 7th here. Closest battle on the track. Although Sudik has caught Clenworth. This is where the storm's going to brew as we see these 3 cars get closer and closer together. That'll allow cars a bit further back, like a Rashad Craig, like a Matt Taylor, like a Logan Edwards, to hunt back into the picture here as we see Oster make the move on Sudik through 3 and 4. Kyle Clenworth parking the bus at the bottom step of the podium. We'll see if he can stay there. Started deep in this field tonight, from what I recall. Not the greatest qualifying effort for the road racing entry tonight, but he's made his way through the field, through the pit strategy, through the trials and tribulations of the race here tonight. Find himself in a solid spot ahead of Jacob Oster. Oster will follow him to the bottom this time. Look up. Cut back down low. Sudik will make the move here. We'll hop back to the battle for the lead here. Brophy has stayed very, very close to Malechka these last couple laps. We'll see if he's getting antsy, starts to make some looks here. Not sure if we're going to be able to go green to the, or sorry, if we're going to be able to go to the end on fuel here. I believe it's just outside the window. Might be just inside of it, depending on how these cars or how these drivers are opting to save fuel here. Maybe if we hop on board, we can get a better idea of if they're doing a bit more lifting in the cars here. Right on board for a couple laps with Jason Brophy as he hunts down Robert Malechka here. Solid lift into 3 and 4 here. Doesn't seem to be quite long enough to be a full-on, like, extended fuel save here. Especially given that the gear bandwidth is what it is. Very, very tight here between 5th and 6th. We'll hop back to the battle that we were watching just a little while ago between Oster, Glenworth, and Sudeep. Back to a higher camera so we can see a bit more here. Oster has taken that third spot away from Kyle Glenworth. No holds barred for any of these drivers left in the field tonight, you have to imagine. The bulk of the field pitted 17 laps ago. So I believe the bulk of them are pushing as hard as they can. This battle hasn't gotten quite as feisty as it was that last go-around before the yellow. Not quite as many cars involved with it at this point. So we see Oster's now comfortably ahead of Glenworth. All about biding your time, managing the tires. While this track is fairly gripped up here in under the night lights, still got to be worried about that tire management, especially over the long run, as we see Glenworth inch his way back towards Oster out of turn number 2 there. See if that run continues, heading off 3 and 4 here. Looks like he's starting to make slow progress. Glenworth looking, opts for the high side in 1 and 2 here. Brophy has now fallen off Malechka, is now 0.6 of a second back. This still remains the closest battle on the speedway. Top 10 at the moment is Malechka, Brophy, Oster, Glenworth, Sudeep, Edwards, Rashad Craig, Matt Taylor, Anna Klemek, Ty Keela in 10th. J.W. Miller runs 11th, 1 down. Raporti is running 12th, 3 down. And Brashear is still in the pit lane receiving repairs, running 13th. Now we will have coverage of the Onyx Racing League here at the top of the hour, a little past top of the hour here. Lotus 79s will take on the Legacy Michigan, which I believe is the stand from 2009. And then I'll have coverage of the Indy Next Road Series from VIR, the full course, at 10 Eastern Time. This will be the first event that has a chance of rain for that series. I've talked with a couple guys that think that when the rain hits, it's going to hit hard and it's going to be treacherous. So we'll see if that is on the cards tonight. Then tomorrow night will be the Indy Oval Series. We'll take on Richmond Raceway, I believe. They will take on Richmond tomorrow night at 8:15 p.m. Eastern, alongside the Indy Next Oval Series that I'll be covering at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe. Going to have to check that in a moment. So we continue to ride with Jacob Oster from the outset here. Yes, that'll be 9:30 Eastern tomorrow for the Indy Next Oval Series. Then Wednesday night, Gary Godso will have coverage of the Formula Indy Series from Barber starting at 8:20 Eastern Time. Thursday night will be the AMA Xfinity Series with Mark Murphy and Sam Crow, 8:30 Eastern Time. They'll be at Las Vegas. And then we will have Sunday will be the PRI Hoosier 500 Open Test is going on that day. I'm not sure if that's broadcasted or not, but that'll be going on Sunday evening. And then the Votive Racing League will have their 7th of 9 rounds for Season 3 at Las Vegas at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday. And then that'll take us back to Monday night here with the Open Series at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the Onyx Racing Lotus 79s at Gateway at 9:05. And Indy Next will take for their 5th round of their inaugural season at 10 p.m. Eastern Time at Portland. Still watching the battle for third here at Phoenix. Jacob Oster has the spot. Kyle Clenworth wants it. We've got 43 laps to go. Clenworth looking to the bottom. Not alongside enough. He's going to stay in tow. See if he can maybe look heading into turns 1 and 2. Still not close enough. I think he's opting to try to size Oster up here, see if he can make a move. Not a ton of motion through the field here. Clenworth looks to the bottom. Finally far enough alongside to look on Oster. He'll be out ahead temporarily. Oster will fight back on the high side heading into turns 1 and 2. Clenworth stays low. We'll see if he can get ahead here heading into turn 3 and 4. Oster will out-drag him down the straight, but the entry for Clenworth, solid. Move Clenworth to third. Oster will cut back to the bottom, look for the switchback. Now we've got ourselves a fight. Good to see the Luke Mansky fan club in the chat. We see Matt Taylor come out of the pit lane. That, I believe, is a scheduled stop for him. So it looks like a number of these cars still have to pit. Robert Malechka comes in. Scheduled stop for him. So we watch the battle for third here continue to brew. Saw a couple passes back and forth for it, but we remain here. This has now come the battle for second as Jason Brophy remains circulating on the speedway, leading about 4.5 seconds ahead here. Long way to go here still. 36 laps in tonight's event. See who's the first of these cars to come down the pit lane, if any. Believe they have to at some point here. I think many of these guys are looking to stretch this as long as they possibly can to try to not get caught laps down in the event that a yellow comes partway through the pit cycle, which is a distinct possibility here given where the pit lane is located. Off of the, I guess it's before the exit of turn number 2 as Clenworth looks to the bottom on Oster again. Adriano Fraporti out ahead could be kind of used as a pick here to get close enough to him. Clenworth on the bottom still. Oster hangs tough on the outside, stays ahead for now. Lechka one down. On the field as it stands. So he had a solid gap before the pit cycle came. He probably took a very, very light tank of fuel. He'll come working his way through the field shortly, I am sure. As Matt Taylor is trying to get back on the lead lap as fast as possible. See Oster come to the pit lane, so he'll be the first of these runners to head down. We'll hop back to Kyle Clenworth. Now Taylor is 2 laps down at the moment. He's trying to get back to 1 down, assuming Brophy comes into the pit lane before Clenworth does. Clenworth stays out on the speedway. Matt Taylor will look to the bottom. I don't think Kyle's going to give him any trouble here. Well, he's going to fight him for it. I suppose that if you can keep your competition behind you, do the lap counter. That's one way to do it. See how much longer these cars opt to stay out at this rate. Matt Taylor still fighting with Clenworth. This is not for position, but I do think that Matt Taylor thinks Kyle's going to be one of the cars that stays out the longest here, so he wants ahead of him, try to stay on the lead lap once this pit cycle ends, or even partially comes through. Now all this happens 6 seconds off the back of Jason Brophy, meaning that Brophy's got a sizable gap to the rest of the field when he comes to pit. See J.W. Miller peel off to the pit lane. We've got 6 cars still left to pit, the last of which is Anna Klemek running 6th in the 15 car. Working 51 laps on this stint for all the runners still out. Have to imagine it's going to be either try to make it all the way to the end or as long as possible for a splash and go. Or they may just be wanting to save as much fuel as humanly possible to win out strictly through strategy. Hop on board with Kyle Clenworth since we've ridden outboard for a good long while here. Rides behind Matt Taylor here. Hanging around in 5th gear. Doesn't sound like there's any lifting going on there. Full pin for the number 5 machine here. Cool, calm, collected line for Kyle Clenworth here. Now I do want to check in on how far is Rob away from unlapping himself. So let's go check on King Robert. Now we can't see any cars out ahead of him, but maybe if we hop on board we'll get a better idea of if there's anything out in front of him. I believe that's Adriano Fraporti pulling down in the pit lane this time around. Now where is Jason Brophy? Jason Brophy's coming around turn number 2, and Malechka's coming through 3 and 4. So he's about a half a lap back, maybe 3/4 of a lap back. Try to make this a little less jarring now. Hop to the outboard. Clenworth has finally come down the pit lane. Looking for that splash and dash to make to the end here. Imagine we're going to see a number of cars start peeling off as they're approaching lap 60 on this window, which is about what we thought the upper end of the fuel window was prior to the race start. Hop back out. Jason Brophy remains circulating. He comes to the pit lane now. We'll hop back to Malechka, who should cycle back to the lead here. He'll pass Clenworth. Cycles to 5th.
Caution, yellow flag.
Caution is out. Have to find out from where. Anna Klemek, maybe? Is that damage on her machine? I believe that must have been damaged because she's opted to take the tow. So we'll rewind here and see if we can figure out. Yeah, it looks like the front of her car is missing. Let's see what happened to Anna here. A lot of damage here. We'll maybe ride on board the cockpit here. So we're coming down the front straightaway. We'll hop on board here. Get to the inputs. See what happens here. Turns down. Looks to slow up. Just wild moment getting on the brakes there into the pit lane. Just shoots into the outside wall, and that'll be night done for Anna Klemic, bringing out the yellow here. We'll see how this impacts the pit cycle here. As I believe this should put everybody who was still running back onto the lead lap. Potentially. We'll have to see. Looks like Rashad Craig's still listed one lap down. Might have gotten unlucky through the pit cycle here, so we'll hop to who they're scoring as the leader with Jason Brophy here. So I believe with where Brophy's positioned, Rashad Craig should get waved around here because he's just in front of him. No, he's not. He's in the pit lane still. Oh. Did Craig maybe suffer damage in that crash? Did he crash? Well, this is certainly a turn of events. We've got 8 runners left on the lead lap. Tough break for those two between Klemic and Craig. Not entirely sure what happened to Craig. We've got cars coming back around to get waved to the back of the pace car. So your top 3 will be Brophy, Malechka, Klenworth, Edwards, then Oster, Sudik, Taylor, and Ty Kilo will round out the 8 runners still on the lead lap here. We'll have 12 to go here. Field catches the back of Fraporti, who will stay low, more than likely. Brophy will launch. We'll see if we'll ride with Rob here. JW Miller stays at the bottom. We've got Klenworth. Hop to a tighter camera here. They're going to get scrappy for sure. We'll watch from the onboard of this. This should remain the closest battle as it stands. They're right on top of each other. I think Kyle's hungry now that he's got Malechka in his sights. See how long this lasts. Porty staying low. Rob looks high. Klenworth stays low for the time being. Back into the draft. Cuts low again. Right on the back of him. Robert's starting to pull away now. Back to an outboard camera, get more what's going on in view here. So we've got Klenworth ahead of Edwards, ahead of Oster, ahead of Taylor, Sudik, Keela, and that's 8 runners still on the lead lap. JW Miller's 2 down. Fraporti is 6 down. Rashad Craig now 7 down, still serving a meatball. Klemic 8 down, serving her meatball. And Brashear, I believe, is just sitting in the pit lane watching at this point. Edwards makes the pass on Klenworth through 1 and 2. Move him to 3rd. 7 to go here. Does Robert have any time to catch Jason Brophy? I don't know. I don't think there's enough laps in this event, given the gap. I think having to work past Fraporti in the early stages is going to ultimately, but does Rob the race in.
Yellow flag.
Or not. We've got a yellow. Looks like Sudik, Fraporti, maybe another car involved. We'll get a look at it as quick as we can here. So we've got Sudik around Makes contact with somebody. So we're coming into 3 and 4 here. We've got Ty Kilo looking low. And maybe netcode barely touching, if not. And that sends Sudik into the outside wall, rear wing first. Mark that day done for that fiercely forward machine. And Adriano Fraporti. JW Miller doesn't get any of it, but that's going to be likely night done for that car as well. Big night of attrition here at Phoenix. Maybe the night lights brought out the night frights in these drivers tonight. Head back to the blimp. So Rob will get, I believe, one shot at it here on a short restart. We'll get maybe a handful of laps to go. At most 2. We'll just have to see. Don't know if that's going to be enough time, just given how big of a jump this leader can get here. I believe the lights are still on that pace car. Yes, lights are now out on that pace car. We're going to get 2 laps to go, I believe. It might only be 1 when we get back around. So a 1-lap shootout to end it. Anything can happen at this rate. I imagine these guys are going to just want to get to the finish at this rate. 7 cars on the lead lap, down to Ty Kila in 7th. And we'll just have to see who makes the final move amongst any of these cars here tonight. Field and control of Jason Brophy. He opts to go now.
Green, green, green.
We're back to green. Believe this will be 2 to go now. We'll come around one more time to get... Oh, no, this is the white flag. Goodness me. Yeah, 1-lap shootout to end this. Move back to the 4th place battle. Clenworth, Oster. Oster looks high. Clenworth low. Is Oster going to have enough momentum for it? Doesn't look like it. Clenworth will hold on for 4th. And that'll do it for Phoenix here tonight. Brophy, your winner. Malechka 2nd. Edwards 3rd. We'll have them up here shortly, I am sure. Ooh. Post-race contact between, believe that's Malechka and Clenworth. Kyle opted to just take it to the infield. Not infield? What is this? Like, they've got all this asphalt area. They could use that for racetrack. Wouldn't that be so much fun? They need more lanes in turns 3 and 4. I think they need to make all that drivable racetrack. I think that'd be fantastic. Get a replay queued up here for Logan Edwards, because I'm sure he'll make his way on that. That is not Logan Edwards. That's Logan Edwards. All right. All right. Maybe back this up a little more so we got a bit more replay to work with. All right. Let's see who we got. Looks like we got the old narc brain. Get him on up here. Logan Edwards, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
I got you.
Well, it looked like quite the race of attrition, especially with that late caution partway through the pit cycle, kind of stacked everybody back up. Kind of talk about working through those longer stints, kind of questioning when you needed to come in, especially in the later portions of this race.
I just went as far as fuel would take me. I had a lot of, I was pretty sure that there would be another caution. I would have liked it. But I don't think I would have liked it a little later. Came out at the perfect time, really. But this was a super chaotic race. And I just really put myself... I just dug in. I didn't feel like I had the best equipment or the best driving.
Well, sometimes it's not even that just, you gotta finish that race with whatever you got for it to really do you too much. Do you have any thoughts as to, if you maybe were pitting in a different sequence? We saw kind of some alternate strategies between the full-on front runners of Malechka and Brophy, kind of playing pin and needle on the strategy, and ultimately Brophy won out. Do you think that there was maybe an alternate strategy you could have baked in had you been able to catch the yellows at the right time, or was what you figured was what you did?
I think one of the yellows that could have stayed out, and really what happened at the end was best case scenario besides that, especially with the power slide cars seemingly just being able to get away.
Well, you know what they say, a podium finish is a good night at the end of the night. So if you've got any friends, family, sponsors you want to shout out, floor is yours.
Next to Luke Mansky Racing Esports, Kyler Brashear for spotting me after his untimely demise. And I think my mom's watching. So, hi, Mom.
There we go. Well, it's good. It's always good to get a classic mom shout out in as well, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Logan. Good job on your race here tonight. P3. We'll hope to see you in the next one next week, or any of the other things we got going on this week. Have a good one.
You too. See ya.
That's the old narc brain. We'll bring Rob up here, get him on the screen. Robert, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yeah.
Hello, Rob. Saw a bit of an interesting pit strategy call, kind of between you and Jason, splitting the difference there in terms of who was going to be the first one out at the end. Talk about kind of your thoughts on the calls you made here tonight and ultimately how it impacted your race.
Yeah, we never really did a long run and with a restart to see kind of how the car reacted. So, with most likely the Pro Series going on at Phoenix, at least we're kind of expecting that. This was a pretty good test race for us, and yeah, just kind of see, knowing that the tires don't fall off a ton, but seeing what a second cycle, or I guess a restart cycle on the tires does, and how much fresh tires matter. And surprisingly, it seemed like fresh tires mattered a decent amount. Just at that last restart, or the last two restarts, I should say. I was definitely slower than everyone around me. I think I had 25 lap tires than everyone else. So, and actually a little bit of wheel spin, which I was very surprised by. But nonetheless, happy with the P2. Congrats to Jason on the win, and yeah, it was a really good step in the right direction for us at Phoenix.
Yeah, we kind of noticed, especially when we had a longer cycle, people who maybe took a different option on the strategy were able to kind of cycle their way back through. We saw Jacob Oster kind of claw his way back from the bottom to the front, or at least a good way through it, kind of taking newer tires when everybody else was on old tires and working his way through. So it was good to see that the tire difference did end up mattering even just a little bit, even if the tire fall off isn't super, super crazy. So hopefully that kind of translates into the Pro Series with what you guys are trying to figure out there. So podium finish. If you got any friends, family, sponsors you want to shout out, you know what to do, Rob.
Yeah, thanks to Jason. He did most of the work on the setup. And I think Adam just got back from Japan, and Phil forgot to race. So, we were hoping to get a few more guys in the race for us, to get some more data points. But, yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you, Rob. Good finish here tonight. Hopefully that'll keep carrying through the rest of the season and heading into January with the Pro Series.
Thanks, Jacob.
All right, P2 tonight, Rob Malechka, and we'll get his teammate Jason Brophy up here right about now. Jason Brophy, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yes, I do.
Well, Jason, I think this might be the first time I've seen you win a race, so that's a feat. You know, you seem to be always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but this has to feel pretty good to kind of use the old noggin and come out ahead here tonight at Phoenix.
Yeah, honestly, I think Rob deserved this one hands down. Going away. This makes up a little for Texas. It didn't really get to race there much, but yeah, I think Rob deserved this one going away. He just we were having fun and he decided to stay out in that just for the heck of it. I said he probably should pit, but it'd be fun if he wanted to stay out, and he did. So, and then obviously that bit him. He had it one going away. I was still deciding whether I was going to take no tires on the pit stop or not, and I kind of decided I was going to take none. And then while I'm driving down pit lane, I decided I better take some. No, I think car was really good. Rob was just better, if you want the honest truth. But hey, sometimes you win on strategy, and I'll take it. Overall, good team day for the two of us. Just had a fast car, did what we wanted to do, got out here and pieced this together. I pieced it together a couple weeks ago, and then came back to it last night, and worked out good. Good birthday present by Rob. So.
Well, sometimes the best gifts are the surprise ones, right? You come out there and expect to come away with nothing, and then you come away with something. It's a good thing, all things considered. Kind of talking on the tire strategy thing, we talked a bit with Rob, and he kind of mentioned that it was surprising to him to see the tire fall off on the long run, and you talked about maybe opting to take no tires for that last stop, and then last minute being like, I need them. What do you feel like really made that decision the no-brainer it turned into come the end of the race?
Oh, the caution coming out. Like, if the caution doesn't come out, I'm taking them. But while I was on pit road, the caution comes out. And at that point, I know 100% I'm taking tires because, worst case, I'm lining up right behind Rob, right? But I thought there was a good chance, given where it fell, that I would probably be the leader. So, free tire pit stop. I don't want to not take tires if I'm going to be up front, put myself at a disadvantage. If I can take free tires, I'll take them. It was just a question of I only needed 5 gallons of fuel on that last stop. And that's definitely I think I gained like 3 seconds. In looking at what happened with the tires after the pit stop, tires were the play. Once I got clean out of there and I could rip off fast laps, it was definitely, I'd say 3/10. But I was coming back on the lap time, and I was wondering if cooling the tires down, down pit road would help, and they'd be fast still. So it was curiosity. Lucked out with the caution to make sure I didn't make the wrong call anyway, and didn't have to pay the consequences of any call. But I figured I was pretty safe in P2, so it wasn't that hard a decision. Like, as I said, Rob really was the fastest to deserve this.
Well, sometimes, as they say, it's better to be lucky than good, and it's better to be good than smart, I think is how it goes. I don't know. My college professor told me that at some point. But, friends, family, sponsors, anybody you want to shout out, Jason, floor is yours.
Yeah, Tommy Milner, Ty Stover, Team Hype owners. I want to thank my teammates at Power Slide. Rob, we put in some work late last night, and then this a little bit today before the race just to make sure we were comfortable. Still think we could find some more stuff. Definitely some optimization we could do, but for this weather at least, I don't know what we'd have at work elsewhere, but for this weather, really good. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. It makes these a lot more fun to be able to go back and watch them. So appreciate that. There's probably people I'm forgetting, but overall, yeah.
They're here in spirit, so we'll shout out to them without remembering who they are. But have a good one, Jason. Good win tonight. We'll hope to see you in the next one, wherever it may be. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, Jason Brophy, your winner here tonight. We'll get a full finishing order rundown because I didn't quite get to that before I started dragging people up for interviews. So we will get that here now. Jason Brophy, your winner here tonight, followed by Robert Malechka, Logan Edwards, Kyle Clenworth, Jacob Oster, Matt Taylor, Ty Keela, J.W. Miller will be 2 laps down in 8th. He's the first of the lap down runners. Sudik, 5 laps down in 9th with a late crash between him and Ty Keela. Adriano Fraporti will be 10th off the track entirely. And then we've got Rashad Craig in 11th, Anna Klemek 12th. Spontaneous crash coming into the pit lane on that last cycle. Caleb Brashear in 13th. We saw that contact between him and Jacob Oster fairly early on in this running. Marco Aurelio Brazil 14th after contact with Casey Povolones, who also made contact with Seb Alexander early in this race, who will finish 15th and 16th respectively. I want to thank everybody for tuning into our coverage of the IndyCar Open Series top split from Phoenix here tonight. We will catch you on either other coverage we've got going on this week, or we'll catch you here next week, where I believe we will be taking on another road course in... yes, the Nürburgring Combined. That'll be something special. We get to face on the Green Monster, as some will call it. We'll keep it on the safe and narrow on that one. And we hope to see you there for what will be an amazing 9 laps, if nothing else, but for an onboard shot of an Indy car screaming through the forest down that back straightaway. And to all those who do the difficult jobs around the world that let us do all the fun things that we do, taking us out of the meat wagon when you get to the hospital. I don't know. Mark's got more clever quips than I do. We miss you, Mark. We hope to catch you next week. Have a good one, everybody, and we will catch you next time. Good night, everyone.